Russian goat himself. It is Vanya.
Aspam, it's an SCV train. In the bottom right as the blue Terran, he is MarineLord, and he is sending out quite a few SCVs.
Wardy jinxed it!
ooh, a good old-fashioned just regular Marine Rush? Oh, man. Snap. I like it.
At least 3 Rexes, but...
Yeah.
I haven't seen 4 Rex in a while, but I feel like even that's almost a possibility here. But I guess 3 Rex with bunkers is a bit better. Vanya did not a drone scout. Obviously, a trend of a lot of these crazy Zergs that like to make an insane amount of basic units is that they are a little bit greedy and sometimes a bit lackluster on the scouting. We see a lot of top Zergs send a drone around, right? Like we saw Elaza do it, I believe, and we see sort of do that kind of stuff. And obviously, like the top Rainer, Serral, they like to drone scout a little bit around as well. Vanya, not doing anything. He's like, I've got an Overlord at the bottom of my ramp. That's all I need.
Yeah. He needs that extra drone mining to hit his, probably like 5 or 6 minute all in. But it's actually MarineLord that is hitting him first. And that is going to start the series off with definitely a bang. Pretty committed attack here. It would have to, it'd be a very awkward scenario if this actually ended up going into a macro game where it killed just enough drones to actually be worth going on home. But that is a possibility with an orbital actually being done. So Vanya's first sight on this rush is going to be with this Overlord. 1 SCV might have been a scout, 2 SCVs and a Marine. You know what's up.
Wow.
You don't know if it's a 2X or a 3X quite yet. But, I mean, the committal, you got to put that spine crawler down, start building up those lings. Gonna try and pull the drone, stop the bunker initially, but this could be a tough hold on the high ground.
It's a lot of drones that he immediately pulled, and what I did like by Vanya is that he sent 1 drone to the low ground before he even saw this. I don't know if that's part of any build order or if he does that just in case he wants to get the spine up as quickly as possible. I gotta say, so far, this is not looking too good for Vanya. He does finally get 1 SCV. There is still an SCV remaining, and this Marine count is high.
Yeah, and this SCV is going to finish up that bunker, so at least one safe place for these Marines to go into, but the problem is that there's just going to be so many more Marines. They're producing 3 at a time, even finding the Overlord that is not actually a spot to hide. Okay, don't quite find it, and it is worth tearing down that spine crawler. That Overlord might have actually unintentionally helped the spine crawler a little bit, but there's still so many Marines here. The spine crawler seems inevitable. He loses the Queen, thinking that it's out of position. He hold positioned it. And that is a mistake right there. Lings are getting hit by both sides. Bunker and Marines on the left. They tuck themselves into a corner, and that is actually it. MarineLord, the quick 1-0.
Yeah, pretty flawless execution by MarineLord. Did not let his SCVs get surrounded early on. Did not let any of his Marines get trapped, even though a lot of drones were being pulled. I don't know if losing that Queen was like really the nail in the coffin, because I had the feeling that it was already going pretty disastrous, right, for Vanya. It felt that this was going to be very tough regardless. But yeah, putting a Queen on hold position in range of the bunker, that definitely doesn't help.
No, it doesn't. I think, one of the first steps is really not letting the bunker come up, right? Like in some cases with 3 racks, the bunker ends up just trying to soak damage. It's like it's not even really anticipated it's going to make it. But if it gives you Marines more, flexibility, more things to move behind, then it can help. But to actually let it finish with all those Marines that are also still coming from the 3 racks, yeah, that's going to be really tough to break. So that is, as I said, a quick 1-0, and not just like, oh, great, you're already up 1, but just getting in Vanya's head a little bit. I mean, he now maybe has to drone scout. He has to take it seriously.
Yep, I mean, it's a very feisty way to start off a best of 5. You're spot on, because in the other games, Vanya's like, all right, dropping 1 map here, lower bracket, 2 mid-life on the line, this stinks, but if this happens again, then all of a sudden you're 1 map away from being eliminated of the entire tournament, and you're like, oh, come on, I haven't even been able to build any proper banelings or roaches yet, so obviously a big victory here from MarineLord, not just the 1-0, but a little bit of a mental victory as well. Do you think with the amount of drones that Vanya pulled there, would it have been worth it to maybe just put all the drones on the bunker the first time to get the initial cancel? And then even if the bunker gets rebuilt, maybe by then you already have Zerglings out?
That is a good question. I think so. I think that might have been the better plan. Just because like letting that finish seems like the thing you're supposed to not let happen at all costs, or most costs, I suppose, would be the stopping the bunker. But yeah, I don't know. It's honestly really tough when you don't scout these things. When the first scout you have is the Overlord that's right in front of your base, it's always going to be tough to hold. And I think even mentally, he probably wasn't thinking that was going to be a possibility. He was probably focused on what he was going to do and got tripped up even more. Second game on Death Aura in the top left, already down 1. He's the red Zerg, Vanya.
Oh, he has a very Russian team name, so we're going to keep it simple and just say that he's representing B100, because I don't know how the Russian pronunciation works. What I do know is that this man in the bottom right side is being sponsored by the lovely Coca, and that's why he is representing Team Cup. Bottom right side, he's up 1-0. French Terran player it is, MarineLord. Jess. Let's get Wardy in here, okay? Wardy's got some explaining to do. What have you done?
Yeah, exactly. Wardy, jeez. I don't know if MarineLord got a tip, that Vanya might be weak against the triple racks, but doing it twice in a row, I actually think it's fantastic. I said that Vanya might have to consider drone scouting, and by drone scouting we mean sending it across for the proxy racks. But I mean, one, okay, who does this twice in a row? Right? There's always that thought in your head. And then 2, those are pretty far out. So, that really should have been the first Overlord, kind of going a bit more to the left. That's what's supposed to see it. And now, I mean, Vanya should bring that second Overlord back to do the same type of scout he had last game, which is right in front of his base. So at least you can see the bunkers being built. But if he doesn't do that either, if that Overlord's actually not going to come back, then this could be even worse.
Should we have all seen this coming when MarineLord vetoed Ice and Chrome?
Clearly he wanted smaller games, short games.
It all suddenly makes sense. The guy who loves mech vetoes one of the best, maybe the best mech map in the map pool, and starts 3-rexing. Once again, we have that very early drone, but now the Overlord is so far out of position that he doesn't even see these SCVs coming in yet. Bunkers will go down immediately, and Vanya is once again going to be in trouble. This time he's going to go for the spike roll on the high ground, but this is going to be so tough, because how does he prevent this bunker from finishing up? That's going to be so difficult.
Yeah, yep. I mean, gosh, it's so awkward too, because the bunker really is quite close to the ramp. At least on Golden Wall, you could get things down the ramp to try and help out, but this is actually going to cover all reinforcement points. It's actually going to get on top of the spine crawler before it's finished, and this doesn't look great for Vanya. He's forced to pull the drones, protect that spine crawler, but it's already half damage. So when more Marines show up, they can even try target firing it.
Yeah, this looks like an absolute disaster. That Queen is now alienated as well from the main base. The spine crawler is so low on HP, like you just said. Vanya might just go for the massive pool of everything, but this is pointless. Vanya has to understand that this is pointless. That's not enough Zerglings. I feel like, was it Sue who did this a couple times, right? Who just makes an insane amount of speedlings, and then he eventually tries to overwhelm this, but that Marine count is insane. How do you even break that?
Yeah. Looks like the spine crawler wouldn't have been able to get that high ground on it, which would have been so much more ideal. Brings it down to the low ground now without the broodlings and a transfuse or 2, so it will get a couple of shots off. Link count is quite high, but not with the speed quite yet, so can't support the spine crawler.
No, this ain't it. Spine goes down, Queen goes down as well. I mean, the speedling count is very high, but there are still 4 Marines in that bunker, and I even think the Marines that are tucked in between these mineral patches at this point are doing more than fine. But even if those would have gone down, then you still have to worry about the bunker. And I think this is it. Vanya's got absolutely nothing. He's got 2 army supply, which is a 10 HP Queen, and MarineLord will take the 2-0 lead off the back of 2 3-minute games. I do appreciate it, Jess. He's like, you know what? These casters, they've got a long day ahead of themselves. Why don't I speed it up a little bit? We appreciate it, MarineLord, but we'd like to see some longer games as well. 2-0 means we're going to head into a very quick break, and after that, we'll be back with Game 3 between Vanya and MarineLord.
Welcome back to DreamHack Masters Fall, where the breaks are longer than the games. It's currently 2-0 for MarineLord against Vanya, and it does not look good for the mentality of our Zerg player. I want to do it a third time, Roddy. I want a third 3 racks. At the very least, Vanya gets a third chance to redeem himself.
I don't know if I want to see that. I'd love to see an actual proper game. At least give us Steam or make some mech. I mean, Eternal Empire is not the worst map for a mech either. Now, I've seen enough 3 Rexes. Why stop that crazy curse or jinx that you put on this series? And let's get it on. Let's hope that this man can turn it around. He was the surprise of DreamHack Masters summer with a top 8 finish that really and nobody really saw that coming. Now, his tournament life is on the line. He needs to win the next 3 games in a row to survive in the lower bracket. Hailing from Russia, it is Vanya.
In the bottom left, not sending out an SCV. He is the blue Terran MarineLord.
I was so focused on the minimap that I was like, what am I even trying to say over here? I'm like, is he sending out any SCVs? I'm like, I'm still doing an intro as well. Damn it, focus, but it's okay. I'm happy to see that all the SCVs stayed at home. And now we can actually talk about all the things we normally talk about. Now, of course, we have another TVZ later today, guys. In case you feel robbed of your TVZ entertainment, don't worry. The last best of 5 of the European part of the show is going to be Stefano versus Euthermal. Pretty excited for that one as well. Jess, Stefano in the playoffs. The year is 2020. Who could have thought?
I mean, he's gotten pretty far in some other tournaments, without the, I guess, different formats, right? But it's good to see him back truly in form, winning his EVZs. And with the current bracket, he's actually got a pretty decent shot. Hopefully Euthermal's, I guess, been practicing. He's had some troubles with his elbow or his arm, but I'm looking forward to that TVZ for sure. And I'm looking forward to this one now that it can finally actually start and we don't just get to immediately talk about the lack of scouting, which, by the way, Vanya is his overlord went every which way there'd be a 3 racks of Eternal Empire and didn't find any. Because finally MarineLord decides to go for a 1 racks expand.
I feel like the moment you see that first SCV, your heart still does skip a beat. You're like, is that SCV ahead of the pack? Is there more coming? It's like, no, not this time. Gotta say, Vanya, stubborn as hell, right? Still not even checking with a drone. Could have maybe checked the Zelnaga watchtower or something, but nope. He's like, no, I believe that my defense is good enough. Just got a bit unlucky in the previous 2 games. But we will get a normal game. So first, initial, straight up question. Macro bio.
Bio. I'm feeling it. Yep. Yeah. I don't know. I mean, Ice and Chrome, I would say mech 100%, and then maybe... what else is 100% mech for me? Actually, I think that's the only one that's 100% for me. But Eternal Empire, I envision the push onto the 4th and whether or not the Zerg has an appropriate defense. It seems so catered around that. With a faster 3rd CC, MarineLord is setting up for a bit of a later but very powerful push. He's not going to completely delay his starport. You can actually just add on 2 barracks after this, in fact, if you really want to do it that way. But certainly a bit of greed. That's a bit of a risk against a guy who is known for his cheeses. Nice start from MarineLord with that creep tumor denial.
Yep, obviously the games don't end on losing a creep tumor, but all of these things really don't help the young Russian here. Of course, Vanya got some experience under his belt with his great run at DreamHack Masters summer, but this is really starting to feel like a obviously disastrous best of 5. And that is actually a relatively quick lair as well. 3 minutes and 40 seconds into the game. So Vanya's not going to do any of that evolution chamber stuff before he starts stacking up. Just wants to get into lair ASAP.
Yeah. Be paying attention to the Baneling Nest if and when it comes down, I suppose. I am still anticipating the very fast spire, one of the pretty much the fastest spire you can get realistically, but there's always that chance for roaches. The Ling, I think, did barely get a scout on that starport. Yeah, with no supply depots at the front, you can kind of tell that it's a 3rd CC. And then how many islands do we have to make? Only 4, not even up to 6. So
Yeah, I actually expected him to maybe make a few more Hellions, but maybe MarineLord is a tiny bit worried that if he makes too many, he could struggle against one of these weird roach pushes that shouldn't happen on Eternal Empire, but a lot of things that shouldn't happen still happen in Vanya games. But that was nice for Vanya. Got a good scout off and even prepped in SCV. There was some lost mining time in the natural for MarineLord as well. It's just good to see him get a little bit of momentum, because even just getting an SCV kill there may give you some confidence. You're like, you know what? I'm still in this. Let's play some proper StarCraft, even though you're already down 0-2 and you need a minor miracle to turn this around.
Yeah, indeed. Yeah, with the, I'm guessing he does know it's a third CC. With that in mind, like, he doesn't have to worry about a halberd attack, which is actually really a nice relief for him, as that might have been tricky. It looks like MarineLord with a scout on the Baneling Nest position, I would say, like, actually strongly indicates that it is that Spire build. And I think they understand each other. So we're going to be waiting for those mutas to pop out and actually start controlling the game a little bit more. This Viking should be the first scout. Well, that's not a wall quite yet. All right, and gets right in there. Not going to get much more scouting, but yeah, it's nice to confirm, I guess, it's engineering base.
Yeah, exactly. You don't love to see Mac with double eBay. That'd be one hell of a mind game. I gotta say, really good job by MarineLord when he moved his Reaper and Hellions near the rocks, right? I didn't think that he knew exactly where the creep tumor was, but maybe just based upon how far the creep was out, he's like, it should be right about here. Started shooting at the rock and actually killed that creep tumor too. So he's doing an excellent job in making sure that the creep doesn't get out of control in the early game.
Well, a single missile turret is already being placed down at the third, arguably the most vulnerable right now, but the main is not too far away from being vulnerable. I guess there might still be a question mark if it's mutas or not, but again, with like a single evolution chamber and the Baneling Nest timing, there's not too many other builds that it would be. And they already have more missile turrets being built now. So, all right, MarineLord is setting up for what could still be a push. You got to be a little careful because what type of... I mean, we saw, what was it, a laser actually? Was it on this map too? Where he just like rushed a bunch of all the lings out and the mutas came? Yeah, okay, great. Yeah, you gotta be careful about that one.
He's like, yeah, I felt behind. I was like, why? He's like, I don't know, missed my Overlord early game, so I felt I had to do something. I was like, what? You just wanted to do this build, Miko. I mean, that game was just absolutely nuts. Okay, if you guys are listening right now and missed the pre-show, laser against MarineLord on Eternal Empire. At least for me, the game of the season so far. That game just had everything.
Obviously the delays on the upgrades could be worth it for Vanya if the mutas can actually get some damage done, but he is going to be pretty far behind, even though MarineLord a little bit messed up his +1 armor. And MarineLord's going to go straight up to an additional 3 barracks, so yeah, we do call this an 8 barracks attack and very dedicated as well. So we've seen MarineLord do well with this build before. I didn't think it would happen on Eternal Empire, but not that it can't happen. And also just recently, I feel like I've seen so many more Terrans not do this build. Vanya's gonna have to be aware of this possibility, I guess, because I think that does change up how eager you are to take some risky fights if you know that they are also pretty dedicated.
Isn't it a bit crazy there's not a single missile turret in the main base? It felt that if the mutas would have gone underneath the third of MarineLord and just fly into the main, and at least Vanya would have been able to find a little bit of damage. At this point, he was just sharking around. Maybe he's going to try to do that this time. The main is definitely where he wants to be.
Yeah, it kind of feels like when Zerg players skip a Spore Crawler because they're like, oh, my queens will be there, right? But then occasionally they aren't actually there, and the Oracle swoops in and kills everything. So it is a bit dangerous, but I guess the other argument is that, you know, for instance, now if he had gone into the main, there's so many mutas, they're about to have +1. One missile turret doesn't actually help you that much. MarineLord's hoping to put all of the pressure onto Vanya's side of the map, and Vanya wants to buy some time, already missing the opportunity a little bit, but he's trying to get a run-by set up. A decent number of Marines are already at home, but is that enough?
I'm actually pretty worried here by Vanya because he's going to lose a couple of mutas. Really wants to get the turret, does not get the turret, but there are so many Marines knocking on his front door. The Hellions have morphed into Helvets as well. The initial Baneling connection is not that bad, though. That's perhaps more than he could have hoped for.
Yeah, it's not too bad, but I feel like it's already... It does kind of suck that Vanya already gave up so much creep spread. Like, his creep spread is actually pretty good, and now it's entirely gone without really threatening the Marines. That is worrying, and MarineLord is not going to stop pushing into this. The mutas are going to try and find a tank, but are denied. He's also trying to set up a bit of a surround. He's going to collapse in. It's mostly off of creep. His Baneling number is pretty high. Can they actually reach the Marines? The tanks don't really get too many shots, and they're focused on everything at once. And this is going to be a partial cleanup at the very least, but the thing about the 8 racks is that if you don't entirely clean it up, it quickly overwhelms. It snowballs so hard, so fast, and that was not good enough for Vanya.
No, nowhere near good enough. It looked promising, but the Mutas really got absolutely nothing done. And MarineLord smells blood. He just keeps on steaming forward. His 2-2 upgrades are about to finish up as well. Vanya never even started 2-2 upgrades. Vanya's making 7 Mutas now, which I think is a bit ambitious. Does get somehow a good bailing connection there. And the hatcheries are still alive, but Vanya needs to somehow get a whole bunch of lings and veins out. I don't really know what the Mutas are going to do here.
Yeah, they can't really do much, especially with 2-2 finishing. I mean, these Marines, even in lower numbers, are going to be able to tackle the Mutas, finding one of them, 2 of them. I guess finding the reinforcements, as it is an ant trail, maybe they can do something. But Vanya, I think, is just desperate. He never really got to play his game. And even though MarineLord gave him 9 minutes in this game, I don't know. It just felt like Vanya should have, you know, done a roach attack in the first game, and then, I don't know, like a Nidus Swarm in the second or something like that. And then maybe we talk about this game and it being a more even score, but he didn't get to play any game, it felt like. This game included. It just never felt like his game.
Utter and complete domination coming out of the French Terran player. Is going to stim forward one more time.